Hey, what's up, everybody? So here's the $8 mini bike, this ugly thing that I picked up off eBay. And I really didn't like it much, but I did like the frame, so I've stripped it all down and we're gonna build it. Here we are at Harbor Freight Tools, probably my favorite store. They seem to have lots and lots of stuff that fits right in with my hobbies. So we'll go in and check it out. So they got pretty decent selection of tires, and I think we're either gonna go with two-piece white or two-piece black. Alright, I think we decided on the two-piece black. We only had 4 of them on the shelf, but I only need 2, so that's okay. So I think these will work out good. I stripped down the APC mini bike. It didn't have an engine. It was just a frame, wheels, forks, etc. And it originally had this tiny little engine, and there was a bracket that sat here, and the engine would mount on that. And then to fill up this big area here, APC had a plastic faux engine just for looks. I've got this nice little Chinese 110cc engine lying around. I thought it would be a pretty good fit for this little bike. But now that I've stripped it down to the frame, and I really don't like these double back tires. One's flat anyway, but I never really understood the idea behind that, other than possibly stability. The rear wheels are really small. As a matter of fact, they're smaller than the front wheel. Looks like the front is about a 12, 13, and the rears are 10s, which is also kind of foolish. It does have front and rear suspension, and I've taken the little shock out. You can see it over here for the rear. That sits up inside the frame here. But anyway, I've taken that out and took a run to Harbor Freight and bought some cheap 13-inch rims and tires that I think are pretty cool. So I'll show you what's going to be the problem. I'm going to roll these out of the way. And here's a nice 13-inch Harbor Freight wheel that's going to go on there. The problem is that when I do get it into position, if the suspension were in place, and get it lined up, the tire is so much bigger in the rear that the tire would actually rub here where the little shock connects. So in order to solve that, pretty simple, I'm going to put a couple of brackets on here and extend that section where the wheel will mount. So I've already made those up. I just machined a couple of extensions. So I'll probably mount them inboard of the frame like this, and that'll allow me to put the wheel a little bit further back on each side. So here you can see I threw the little engine on the bare frame just to show you how well this thing actually fits. I mocked it up and kind of positioned it where I think it's going to end up, and what a fit. I mean, like it was made for it. Couldn't ask for a better clearance all around and positioning. I think it's going to look great. And a nice little 4-speed mini bike with the 13-inch Harbor Freight wheels all blacked out. I don't think I'm going to have more than $100 in this build, especially since the bike itself only cost me $8. The engine was free. The wheels, as I said, $12 a piece for the rim and tires. Maybe some spray paint. A couple odds and ends for the motor. I did pick up a new starter for electric starter because there's none for it. And I think that was $14 off eBay. Shift lever was like $9. I will need a chain and I will need a rear sprocket. Otherwise, I have all the parts to complete the bike. So I'd be really surprised if I spent more than $100 to build this. Alright, so it's been quite a while since you've seen this bike, and unfortunately it's been sitting outside, so it collected a little surface rust in the areas where I've removed some excess parts and ground some welds for things that we don't need and were kind of in the way. But there is a Minibike Mayhem event going on June 22nd, and the rules require that the mini bike have a pull start engine between 5 and 7 horsepower. So the plan right now has changed to, instead of using the 110cc ATV engine, we're going to use a Predator 212. And if we decide to change the engine back to the 4-speed 110cc engine later, we can do that. But for this event, it must be a pull start 5 to 7 horse, so that's the route we're going to go. Alright, so here's a 45 tooth sprocket that I picked. No bolt hole pattern for the wheel, so I'm going to take this over to the mill and put a 5 by 100 millimeter bolt pattern into it so that I can mate the sprocket to the Harbor Freight wheels. There it is, 5 bolt pattern, 5 on 100. Alright, so here's the finished sprocket, but basically what I did was I indicated this center 2-inch bore, zeroed out on the middle, and positioned the mill to do a 5 on 100 millimeter bolt pattern around the center of the sprocket. So everything's perfect, it'll run true, it's not going to run out. And now what I'm going to do is go over to the lathe and make some spacers that I can pass a bolt through each of these holes through the spacers and attach it to the Harbor Freight wheels. So I built this rear wheel assembly from a Harbor Freight tire, and basically what I did was I machined a flange that has the same bolt pattern as the rim. Used a piece of Schedule 40 pipe to space it out, and another flange that has the bolt pattern 4 bolt instead of 5 bolt for a brake drum, and position that on the outside so that I can actually change the drum when that wears. Using some threaded rod for my axle. It's a 5-inch brake drum. This side I put some standoffs, 3/16 threaded rod going out to the sprocket, which will be on this side actually. And yeah, so that's my drive assembly, and is my rear swing arm. I gotta still mount something to be able to hold the brake band for the brakes in the rear. Here we are at Harbor Freight. We're playing my song, Back in Black. Yes, we are right here. Back in Black. Predator 212. 301, 670, got the 420, that's the 301, and the little guy, 79. We are here today for this guy. See you soon. So here's the brand new Harbor Freight Predator 212cc engine, and I just finished the recommended 3-hour break-in period before I start tearing into it to do all the modifications. For anyone that's not familiar with these engines, they are excellent engines for the money. I don't know where else you can buy an engine this powerful and this reliable for $100. I've never seen anything like it. So we're going to go ahead and tear into this thing and start doing our mods before we put it on the project. Well guys, it's June 12th and there's 10 days until Minibike Massacre, and I've been trying to get together this scrap built mini bike from miscellaneous parts I have hanging around, and I'm still here with this. So got some parts and tools and things all over the place, but just welded on a engine mount plate down there, some threaded studs for my axle, or foot pegs I should say, not axle pegs but foot pegs. They look like axle pegs. I turned them up on the lathe. These here, so those will thread right on. Did get my headlight mounted, another scrap part, so that worked out. Alright, so here it is. Used a wire brush, got all the surface rust off, and a little bit of SOS pads to take the rest off the chrome off the forks, and we're ready to throw a coat of black paint on it. And if you guys are wondering what this is about. This is my tip of the day for you. I'm lazy and don't like to mask off anything with tape, so this is just a roll of saran wrap, and it's a quick and dirty way of just wrapping up anything that you don't want to get paint on. So my chrome forks, handlebars, and neck are saran wrapped, and now I can just give the frame a quick coat of paint and won't get overspray all over that stuff. Alright guys, so what we're going to do here is take the mini bike and mock it up real quick with the parts that we plan to use, because we have made a couple of changes as mentioned. So let's get started. Alright, so that's kind of what it's going to look like, and then I will use this little fender here that'll go up here, and I'll probably have to trim it a little bit to make it fit. And I've also gone ahead and machined these little foot pegs, axle pegs, put some threaded rod on here and be able to screw those on for foot pegs on the side. So essentially that's what it's going to look like. Sorry about the crawling around on the floor, but video doesn't get me if I stand up. So. Alright, we're on our way to Minibike Massacre. The bike's in the back, recovery vehicle. Dale's here. Curtis is back there. We got Papa behind us with Paige, and everybody's got their barbarian gear, and we are about to have a blast, so we will see you there.